come from. Join us on our journey as we uncover where the most interesting gourmets come from around the world with our one and only Chef Matthew in the studio for 맛 대 맛. 안녕하세요.
I'm angry at you.
Oh, no.
With their mandu story, you started the food section without me.
그러네. We kickstarted it. But it's such a fun story.
It is. It's a great story. Actually, I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah. Way to save 49 soldiers' lives. Why not just fool the river with some mandu and call it good? And so apparently that was a success. But in any case, how are you doing during the monsoon season? Just kickstarted as well.
조금 실망해요. I'm a little disappointed because it's not raining as much as it should be.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing to say because I don't love the rain. But I feel like 뭔가 like when you come up to like 장마철, like monsoon season, right? Don't you kind of like gear up for it? You kind of
You
like
do. 마음 준비를 단단히 하는데.
yeah, and then nothing happened.
And especially because everyone was saying, 올해 엄청 많이 비에 뭐가 돼 있고, and like everyone's saying, there's going to be so much rain this year. It's going to be so hot. And then it was not bad. We had one rainfall on Monday and then...
If past years are any indication, though, it means that some random week in like August, we're just going to get so much rain.
That's true. But it's not over. There is rain tomorrow starting from Thursday. So maybe we'll get some good amount of rain. But in any case, let's get to our question of the day. 오늘의 주제는 뭘까요?
So we're going to talk about, because it is so hot out right now, right? Like, I think what I want more than anything else is just a nice, refreshing beverage. 그냥 시원한 음료수.
Yeah.
참 많이 땡기죠, 요새.
Yeah, and especially I'm a type of person, 소다, 이런 콜라 같은 거를 마셔도 꼭 얼음이 들어가야 된다고 생각을 해요. Especially even if I have like breakfast, 오렌지 주스 같은 경우에도 얼음 있으면 더 맛있어요.
뭔가 it hits differently.
It does.
Yeah, with the ice, without the
But
ice.
then some people 우유에도 얼음을 넣는데 그거는 거기까지는 못하겠더라고요.
Wow, imagine putting like 저지방 우유, like ice in skim milk.
Yeah.
At that point, it's just white water.
Yeah, definitely, especially if it melts. But in any case, to each his own, we are talking about refreshing beverages today.
That's right. And our first question is, which country has a popular soft drink known as silk tea?
오, 실크차. 인기 있는 음료가 있는 나라는 과연 어디일까요?
So this one's a little tricky one because you need to know two languages to get this one
아,
correct.
그래요?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like, there's a Silk Road. I was in tea, traveled, through a lot in China, and I just feel like tea, China, India. I'm going to stick with Asia, but then again, who knows?
Right. Are we talking about flavor, texture, appearance?
그러니까요.
When I use the word silk, I'm talking about the term like 뭐 비단, 뭐 명주실, like the material silk they make clothes out of.
Okay.
The same word, but maybe has a different meaning. Who knows?
Who knows? That is the question. Let us know if you guys have your guesses or the answer. 실크차. 인기 있는 음료가 있는 나라는 과연 어디 있을까요? All right, getting to our topic. Since we are talking about beverages, why not start with a little H2O?
Water. I mean, it is the best beverage. We don't drink enough water. No, I think everyone needs to drink a little bit more water. I'm very conscious about how much water I drink because there was a period in my life where I just was not drinking enough water. I was basically drinking coffee instead of water for about 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I heard that if you drink too much caffeinated drinks, so of course including coffee, then it leads to Alzheimer's as well. And so my husband was like, oh my gosh, I need to be careful because his grandma apparently just always had a cup of joe.
Sure.
And it's watered down. It's not like strong espresso coffee. But then she ended up getting Alzheimer's. Who knows if it's that related, but...
혹시 does his grandmother live in like 조금 더 시골 쪽에서 사나요?
맞아요.
So that's actually something that my mother-in-law has been saying ever since my in-laws have moved to the 시골. She was saying, I can't stop drinking coffee. There's nothing else to do. I always have to have 심심해서 she's just constantly drinking coffee all day long.
Maybe 시골 밭을 보면서 그런 여유가 생기면서.
Right. I think that's absolutely has something to do with
right.
it.
Yeah, the scenery will change your taste buds too. So I can see that happening. Water, on the other hand, it's difficult to drink sometimes, just plain.
You're one of them.
I am.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm not like I don't like the sparkling water 같은 거 탄수물은 잘 못 마시지만 like cucumber water, lemon water.
정말 그 미국에는 그 오이 물, cucumber water라는 거는 되게 인기 있지만 절대로 you could never sell that in Korea.
그럼 why not?
우리나라만큼 오이가 호불호로
맞아요.
보이는
That's
there's no
so
other
true.
country in the world that where cucumber is so polarizing. But in
Yes.
America, the cucumber water is everywhere. It's in beverages. There's cucumber flavored sports drinks now.
Really?
Yeah, and there's cucumber spa water. And
Okay.
I want to talk about spas for a second.
좋습니다.
우리나라로 그 spa라는 단어 쓰잖아요. The
네네.
idea of like it's where you go to get pampered.
Sure.
But it's an ancient term. They've been using this term since the Roman times.
Really?
Yeah, it means a location where there's like mineral rich spring water, sometimes seawater, where you go for like medicinal baths, like 우리나라 온천처럼, like natural springs.
Yeah, they
where
knew it. You ever go to the beach and you're like, my skin just got 100 times better.
And that's the thing. There is something to it.
I think so.
Water can be good for you. Experts agree. Across the board, there are benefits to drinking mineral water. But there's a big but. There are several big buts.
Okay.
Only if you have, for example, if you have a certain mineral efficiency.
Okay.
그 물에 들어가 있는 그런 뭐 효과 있는 거는 is some kind of mineral,
Okay.
right? Whether it be calcium or iron or magnesium. So iron deficiency is a real thing. I think a lot of many women even now are still iron deficient in the modern day.
Anemic, yeah.
And minerals like magnesium still form the basis for 그런 변비약, those constipation medicines. But here's the thing. You have to drink a lot of this water to see any sort of benefits.
But it tastes like blood. I'm not a fan of that. So I went to visit my in-laws. 이제 미네소타의 그런 시골 쪽에서 사는데요. 거기서는 그 well water.
맞아요.
It's just from the ground and it's super fresh and it's great, but it has just so much iron in it that I had to go buy some water bottles. I couldn't drink it.
So in English, there is a curious term, right? Hard water versus soft water.
맞아요.
And I think a lot of non-native English speakers might be kind of like, is hard water ice? 얼음인가요?
That's true.
But
Solid.
if water is like very mineral rich, it can be considered hard water. And these spas, they were like destinations where if you were a sickly young child, you might be sent for weeks during the summertime.
Whoa.
And you may or may not get better. But here's the thing, they didn't know what was in the water back then. They just knew that this was some natural water and some people felt better.
Right.
There's this one author who wrote about water, and he has a great kind of way of looking at it.
Okay.
He says, I think if you go into a drugstore and you look for a certain type of medicine, let's say it's aspirin, you know where to go. Going to a spa is like going into a pharmacy with all unlabeled medicines.
Okay.
You take something because someone else said, oh, I took that and it made me feel better. And so it may or may not work for you, depending on what the minerals were and what you needed.
Right. Have you ever seen those videos that compare like the pH value of just the generic store-bought water
Sure.
bottles? I mean, it's incredible to see how different each one is because if we just look at it, it's like, oh, it's just water. And, what kind of minerals is actually in the mineral water? Is it actually true? But, the expensive ones, 비싼 이유가 있더라고요.
Absolutely. I mean, I think some of them, it is absolutely branding, but for some of them, there is a huge difference. 그래서 그런 파인 다이닝 레스토랑에서 there are like water sommeliers.
Water sommeliers?
There are vast differences in the taste of water. Like actually my favorite water has the highest level of arsenic and lead.
Okay.
An acceptable level.
Okay.
But like those are the minerals that are stand out. I think that's what makes it taste so good. It's a French water, but it's not like a fancy French. It's not one of the fancy French waters.
People who are really into coffee. I know a guy who will buy a specific type of water just for his coffee.
Sure, and there's a reason. There are like two reasons for this. One is the flavor, but also if you have like a really expensive machine, just over time you don't want to be clogging it up with too many with too many minerals, and that can build up and affect the performance. Especially if we're talking about like an espresso machine.
Okay, yeah. I mean that all makes sense. Just goes to show how important your choice of water is. not only for drinking, but bathing in, down to cooking with.
Like, do you have a brand that you always go for, like in terms of water, or?
Not really. I remember like when Smart Water came out, it was like the expensive thing. I just wanted the bottle to be like, I drink Smart Water. Or
I'm
like,
basically Jennifer Aniston.
yeah, that's right. Or like Fiji, or all these like, brands that have like nice packaging. But I would say there is like a different taste to it. If you taste each different water, it's like, oh yeah, it can taste a little bit different. But I would say 한국 물이 조금 진짜 좋은 것 같기도 해요.
Yeah, I think Korean waters tend to be a little bit lighter and less mineral heavy.
Some are sweeter.
훨씬 더 깔끔한 것 같아요.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to like the local taste in terms of just like, 입맛 of like, like what people like in their water.
Yeah.
I feel like because 우리나라에서 그 수돗물을 마시지 않고 we drink mostly like 정수기, like filtered water. And so filtered water tends to be pretty low in minerals. And I think, something there. I feel like American tastes also go on the lighter side, whereas European tends to go very heavy on minerals.
Oh, okay.
One of my favorite waters is from Spain. Again, it's not something super expensive, but like only like Spanish restaurants will carry it.
Okay.
It's not more or less expensive than any other mineral water, but I swear it tastes like a little salty. That's how minerally it is.
Wow.
And I would never drink this on my own because I'm thirsty, but it tastes really good with food.
Oh, okay. So there must be certain pairings that go well with different types of water. But in any case, water, it's all good for you. But then some people say don't drink cold water. 특히 한국에서는 찬물을 마시지 말라는 그런 얘기도 있잖아요.
맞아요. What do you think? Do you believe in this?
I have a sensitive stomach, so I'm just gonna say, I do believe in it.
So there you go. I think people with sensitive stomachs, teeth, and like, and also like sinuses.
Okay.
Because there are short-term effects that cold water can have on you. If you have sensitive sinuses, it can cause like an immediate like mucus buildup.
Okay.
Because it's a signal, right? Like sudden coldness. Like, oh, we better protect this guy. People 치아가 싫어지면은 like if you feel that kind of like chill in your teeth, if you have sensitive teeth, I think you can feel that immediate effect. And there is like an immediate stimulation that happens with cold water. But there are no, I think, long-term effects when it comes to drinking cold or warm water.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just feels good. If I have if it's super hot outside and I drink cold water, I can literally feel the coldness spreading out through my body. It's a cool sensation, but in any case, enough about water. We're going to be talking about so much more, I guess, flavorful drinks coming up. So we'll review our question once again. 시리크차. 인기 있는 음료가 있는 나라는 어디일까요?
That's right. Which country has a popular soft drink known as silk tea?
Let us know if you have your guesses or the correct answer. In the meantime, here's 이현도, 물 좀 주소. Talking about juices, teas, water, so many beverages to cover. I mean, living in Korea, there are so many, like, not ancient, but like retro vintage drinks. I mean, we have didn't we make the coffee mix? We have the 보리차.
That's right.
We have, what else do we have? Shike is one of my favorite. I mean, there's just so much to enjoy, especially iced. But in this particular region, 실크차 인기 있는 음료가 있는 나라는 과연 어디일까요?
That's right. Which country has a popular soft drink known as silk tea? I mean, when I say popular, it's everywhere. Like, it's just as readily available as any soda or any juice. It's just, you can buy it where beverages can be found.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of like, would it be Korea? Would it be like a trick question? But I have like Solomon's tea.
No, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, but I don't know. Who knows?
One.
Who knows if we just don't know what the translation is? But in any case, we talked about water, but now let's switch it up a bit.
Yeah, talk about sparkling water. Water in cursive.
More fun. Water in French.
Yeah. So naturally occurring sparkling water can be found all over the world, and the way this, so so like the French one, the one that starts with a P, that's naturally bottled, that's naturally carbonated.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and so what happens is that It's when there's these areas that have water underground, and there's like usually some kind of volcanic presence or some kind of maybe natural gas in that area, and there's a buildup of carbon dioxide that happens underneath.
Okay.
And the carbon dioxide gets absorbed into the water because of all the pressure.
Whoa.
And that's basically how, like, a modern day, like, if you have a 탄산수 기계 at home, that's
Right.
basically what it does. You're just forcing carbon dioxide
Okay.
into into the water. And I just want to take a quick moment, 여러분, like, if you drink sparkling water regularly, please get one of these machines. They are saving
Lifesaver.
so much in plastic bottles.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's I feel like I can taste the carbon dioxide.
Yes, and that's what makes it so good.
Does it? It's so strange for me,
근데
but
탄산수는 정말 호불호죠.
yeah, very
This one
true.
is very, very, like, you love it or hate it.
Yeah, but then there's like different names for it. Is
So-
it like depending on depending on pairing or depending on how you mix it or?
Nope. So all the names we're going to go through are just water and carbon dioxide.
Okay.
Maybe some minerals, maybe some not. But like that doesn't really make a big difference. Tonic water, for example, is different because that actually does have has a quinine or quinine if you're a Commonwealth English speaker, which is it's a naturally it comes from a bark of a certain tree. And that's what gives it like 약간 그 쌉쌀한 맛. The tannic kind of quality to it makes it kind of tastes kind of grapefruity.
Okay.
Yeah, and they put citric acid in there, gives it a little tang.
All
So
right.
tonic water is very, very heavily flavored.
Okay.
Sparkling water and all the other ones we're going to talk about right here are just water with carbon dioxide. So there's a term that is not used very much in Korea, seltzer. We use it in Korea when we're talking about a certain type of alcoholic beverage, 하대설사,
Right.
one that's gotten really popular over the past couple of years. But that's pretty much the only time you hear that term. But for a long time, this was a really popular term for carbonated water all over the world, not just in Europe, but also in the United States and other regions. It comes from a small town called Niederselzers in Germany, and this was a spa town, and they had a naturally occurring sparkling water spa there.
Makes sense.
And so it was famous, so it became seltzer from Niederselzers.
I always thought my first, what do you call it? Not impression, but how I first knew about seltzer was the Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah. I mean, alcohol sells alkaline.
tablets?
It's a combination of alkaline and seltzer
Okay.
because it causes carbonation, like
okay.
seltzer does.
Yeah. So I just thought it was so weird because I always thought that Alka-Seltzer was like medicine as well. So why would you drink medicinal water? Just didn't make sense. All right, seltzer is another name for sparkling water. But then
Right.
if you go to the bar,
Club soda.
club soda.
And club soda is just carbonated water,
Okay.
and it comes from Ireland. So club soda actually used to be a brand name.
Oh, kind of like Kleenex or chapstick. Kind
Yeah,
of vibe.
exactly. It became kind of like a generic catch-all term.
Sure.
It was coined in 1877 by Cantrell and Cochrane of Dublin, Ireland, and they trademarked the term club soda. And the club in this case refers to the Kildare Street Club in Dublin, who commissioned this company to create it. So
Cool.
hence, this was our club's soda.
There you go.
Yeah, and then of course there's just carbonated water, 탄산수.
Right.
Which is probably the most common way it's said around the world. Just carbon, like gas and water. So in French, it's eau pétillante.
Oh, yes.
Spanish is agua con gas.
Oh.
Pretty straightforward. Aqua, aqua gas, gaseous
There you
aqua. Italian is acqua frizzante, which I think is just very fun to say.
Fancy, yeah.
And,
Do the German one.
German is Sprudelwasser.
Yes! I want to order that. One Sprudelwasser, please.
Yeah, and then as you kind of go around the world, you can kind of see some other trends kind of come up. In Korean, it's 탄산수, and in Japanese, it's very similar, 탄산수이.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Lots of different ways to say sparkling water, and tea as well. Speaking of which, coming back to our question, 실크차. 인기 있는 음료가 있는 나라는 과연 어디일까요?
That's right. Which country has a popular soft drink known as silk tea?
Drumroll, please.
I'll give you another hint. Would you get it if I called it mustache or beer tea? Drum roll, please.
Oh! 옥수수 수염.
That's right.
옥수수 수염차.
옥수수 수염차. So, 옥수수 수염 literally means beard of the corn, right? But in English, that's called corn silk.
You're right.
Yeah. So, like I said, you can only get this if you know both languages.
그러네요. That's right. Which I love. 옥수수 수염차 is the best tea.
It's so good, right? Like it tastes distinctly of corn, but still makes for a really nice beverage.
Yeah.
It's the most bizarre phenomenon. And I please, like if you've never tried it, go out and try to find some because it is delicious. So I say it's a popular soft drink in Korea because it is, of course. You find it in all the 편의점 here.
What's soft drink? What would you categorize?
Not a non-alcoholic drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a popular, just like daily drinking beverage.
I see.
They do also use corn silk, 옥수수 수염 in Chinese medicine as well, but it's not really used as a popular soft drink basis like the way we have it here.
Well, there you go. We can have it every day. Speaking of which, we'll leave you guys with a quick song before we come back with another round. Here is Chungha, Sparkling. Where do these foods come from around the world? Join us in our journey as we uncover where these delightful desserts and delicacies come from with our one and only Chef Matt in the studio for 맛. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
What is your go-to breakfast beverage?
Sparkling water.
In the morning?
In the morning. I have to have some kind of very, very cold, very, very 시원한 and I drink sparkling water. I mentioned in part 1 우리 집에 그런 탄산수 기계가 있다고.
네.
I mentioned that, and I've drank sparkling water for most of my life. Fizzy water. Sparkling water sounds pretentious. Carbonated water for most of my life.
It feels so aggressive so early in the morning.
I need that.
You
I
do?
need that to wake up.
Oh.
I need like being like 한 대 맞아야 돼요. Like I have to be like slapped across the face to wake up.
Okay, yeah, I guess that does make sense. Getting in some messages. 김민성님께서는 탄산수 챙겨서 이제 밖에 나왔는데 주제가 탄산수네요. 전 탄산수 러버입니다. 시원하고 톡 쏘는 게 좋아요. Yeah, there's like people who only drink carbonated water.
That's me.
Yeah, and 김민성 as well. 4411님 탄산수는 꼭 시원한 걸로 마셔야 해요.
Oh yeah.
미지근한 걸로 마시면 그것처럼 맛없는 게 없네요.
It's like a form of torture. Yeah.
That's like milk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, milk's gotta be like ice cold.
약간 둘 다 뭔가 it doesn't really change the texture, but 약간 걸쭉해진 느낌인 것 같아요. It feels like it's gotten thicker somehow, even though it doesn't. It feels thicker.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your go-to breakfast drink?
Breakfast drink is like lukewarm lemon water or something like that. Lukewarm water is good. Nowadays I'm into 피부 관리, so collagen water. 콜라겐을 마셔야 됩니다. 여러분 마시고 있나요? It's very important.
So you need to ease into
I
the
do.
day.
Because I can't even have breakfast. I'll wake up at, even if I wake up early, 7, I'll wait a couple hours before I have breakfast. So warm teas are good, but anything cold is too much.
Yeah, I'm with you with the food, but with the beverage, I need
Has to
something.
be.
Yeah, I need to splash my face with some water from the inside of my mouth.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we were talking about beverages in all shapes and forms. We talked about silk tea, translated to 옥수수 수염차 in Korean. So what is our next question?
Question. Which country's national beverage is champagne?
너무 쉬운 거 아닌가요?
Oh?
Is it? Trick question? 모르겠네요. 국가의 음료로 샴페인을 채택한 나라는 과연 어디일까요?
Okay, so I'll say two things. It's not France.
Oh.
Second thing, it's not the national beverage in the sense that, it's not like their national bird or national flower.
Right.
But it's more like, for example, 우리나라의 national beverage는 ice americano.
Okay.
It's the unofficial national beverage. It's the one that everyone would be like, oh yeah, no, that's it. If we had to pick one, that's the national beverage.
Yeah, definitely would be Korea's national beverage.
And when I say champagne, however, I do mean actual French champagne.
Okay, it is French, though.
It is French champagne, but
Okay.
we're not talking about France.
Interesting. So that happens sometimes.
Yeah. So, but, so think like, where are they wealthy and pretentious enough to be to have their national beverage be champagne? I mean, champagne's not even the national drink of France.
That's true. Wanna be French. Who knows? Well, let's talk a little bit more about our previous topic. We talked about tea for quite a bit.
That's right. Tea is the most consumed beverage in the world.
Is it?
It is. Coffee is number 2. Tea is number 1.
What? Is it because there's so many different types of tea?
Oh, there are so many different types of tea, but I mean, there are so many different types of tea culture, and tea is widely beloved. And I think there are tea from the tea plant, and so the tea plant is one type of plant.
Okay.
Green tea, black tea
Right,
come from
right,
the same
right.
plant.
Right,
Black tea is aged and fermented, and green tea is also dried. And then you also can powder into like matcha.
Right.
And then, but you also have a lot of teas that aren't teas. But let's talk about the word because it's really interesting. The word tea. Almost every country in the world has one of 3 words for tea, and they all come
맞아요.
from the same root. Tea or te, cha or chai.
Mm-hmm.
So the earliest of these 3 to enter the English language is cha, which came into the 1590s via the Portuguese from through Macau. And as a result, they're the only ones in Western Europe to call tea cha.
Oh.
Everywhere else is tea or te or te.
그러네요.
They're the only country in Western Europe to call it cha.
Wow. I had no idea that it came from the Portuguese.
Yeah, actually, there are a
That's
lot
surprising.
of the Portuguese. You have to remember how active they were in like the imperial age. That because they come into the story a little bit later too.
Okay.
The word tea or te comes in the 17th century via the Dutch, so
Okay.
on the eastern side of Europe, and they got it indirectly from the Malay te or directly from Min Chinese te.
Okay.
And then the third form, chai, originated from Northern Chinese pronunciation of cha, which traveled several directions. It went down south and then went to the Portuguese, and from the Portuguese it went to India, and that's how they got chai.
What? I thought it started from India.
No, it is Chinese by way of the Portuguese.
Oh, interesting.
But chai also traveled northwards through Persia, and that's why if you look at Eastern Europe, Russia, Hungary, Turkey, all of them have a chai was a kind of root to their form of tea. The only country that has kind of a variation on this is Poland. So Poland and Lithuania, they have
Are they tea drinkers?
they are tea drinkers.
Oh, they are.
So they have a different term, herbata.
Herbata.
Which seems like it'd be something different, but it's basically herb tea. So the herba root, and then comes from te.
Oh, okay.
But I think other than very, very remote cultures, just about every country in the world, their word for tea is either one of those 3 roots.
Yeah, it is interesting. That was actually a convenient thing if you are ordering off of a menu and those are the only things.
You have a 33% chance of getting it right.
Yeah, that's true. So we're talking about, the different types of teas because as you said, there is like the tea leaves, there's like flower teas, herbal teas.
So we're going to talk about teas that aren't made from tea because that's a whole separate 5 episodes right there.
Okay.
So let's talk about mate
Matcha.
because that's my name, mate.
Oh, 그러네요. That's
then-
right.
It's super rich in caffeine. It's the official drink of Argentina.
Okay.
But it's drank all throughout South America. And there's a whole ritual around mate. Have you had traditional mate before?
No, I haven't. I actually just learned about it like a few years ago when it came to Korea as a hangover.
Sure.
A hangover tea, but that's all I knew about it. I actually didn't know that was from Argentina.
It kind of became quite popular, like kind of overnight.
Yeah.
Like it didn't take over the entire market.
Right.
It's not as big as silk tea, for example, but it is quite popular as a packaged beverage here in Korea. But traditionally, so you take the leaves of yerba mate, which is the plant, and you put it into hot water in this kind of gourd, and you put a straw in it, and you keep refilling it, and it's a communal thing. So you have one cup and one straw.
One bagaji?
And then you pass it around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's something you do with close friends, and and
That's fun.
Yeah,
It's like a big cocktail.
It basically is. And you keep refilling it because it's quite strong. It's quite high in caffeine. It's very similar to rooibos. Do you like rooibos tea?
I do not like.
I'm not a fan of rooibos either. It's not similar in flavor. It's actually kind of tastes the opposite of rooibos. I don't like rooibos because it tastes too round and caramelly.
Yeah.
It's like whereas mate I think is a little bit sharp and more herbal.
Okay.
But it's similar in the sense that it's a leaf tea, but it's not tea leaf. If that makes any sense. So it's made from a leaf, but it's not made from tea leaf.
Is that like jasmine tea?
Yeah, so like jasmine, like so also similar.
Like a flower?
Yeah. So using the leafy, planty parts rather than the seed parts or the beardy parts of a plant.
Yeah, I mean we're just getting started with all the different types of teas that are drunk all around the world. But coming back to our question once again. 국가의 음료로 샴페인을 채택한 나라는 과연 어디일까요?
That's right. Which country's national beverage is champagne?
Let us know if you have your own guesses or the right answer or even the wrong answer. Just join the conversation as we talk about the most interesting beverages. In the meantime, we'll leave you guys with 치즈 Blue Champagne. You're listening to Mateman with Chef Matt here in the studio talking about the most interesting gourmets with our topic today being beverages. And so, of course, one question is 국가의 음료로 샴페인을 채택한 나라는 과연 어디일까요?
That's right. Which country's national beverage is champagne?
And it's not France.
It's not France. So think like what country is extravagant enough to have champagne as their national beverage.
I got it. All right. Wait, no, I don't know. I was going to say China, and I thought,
right. So yeah, they have the world's fastest growing rate of billionaires in the world.
Right. And then I thought maybe like the Middle East, like Abu Dhabi. But then isn't like alcohol banned?
Yes.
It is a little bit of a pickle, but let us know if you have your guesses.
You'll never guess it, but once you hear it, you'll go, ah!
Really? All right, that's fun. Can't wait for the answer. Well, let's get back to our topic of tea.
So I wanted to talk about a term that I didn't really understand until I looked into it today, and that's breakfast tea in the UK.
Yes.
Are you a fan of breakfast tea?
I am.
Do you know what breakfast tea is?
It's black Assam tea.
Yeah, right. Like that's all I knew about it was that was a black tea.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know about because I don't drink breakfast tea, so I didn't really know anything about it until I looked into it. So if you're not a tea drinker or if you're not a native English speaker and you come across this term breakfast tea, what it refers to is essentially just a blend of black teas, usually from Assam, Ceylon, or Kenya. And what it is that it's a blend that is just perfectly rich, but also not too strong, not too dark, not too light. It's just something that goes really well with milk and sugar and just kind of like you said, like eases you into the day.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I have this a lot if I'm traveling and I feel like I want to be a professional at the hotel buffet. But I'm not a milk pourer in my drink. I mean, I'll have it definitely with like Indian chai and masala chai, but something about the flavor, like it goes well even if I'm having yogurt, or it goes well if I'm having like eggs and toast. Right. It just pairs with anything.
Essentially, yeah, it's meant to be the most kind of adaptable tea for breakfast situations if you have it. And I'm with you. I'm not a milk in my tea sort of person. If anything, I'm more of like a squeeze of lemon in my tea. I think but apparently in the UK, a lot of people will kind of judge you, like say if you started in a new workplace or if you have a new roommate, they'll judge you by how much milk and sugar you put in your tea.
Right. Yeah. And also like are you gonna be the person that puts honey in there? It's like relax. Don't try to be like the healthy tea drinker.
Yeah, stevia. Get out.
Yeah, so true. Put some white sugar and call it a day. Breakfast tea, so good. Love it.
In America, and this is becoming less and less common, there is a similar kind of analog there, and that's breakfast blend coffee.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and you don't really see that much of it nowadays just because, espresso is so much, espresso drinks are so much more popular now. But, back when you would buy your coffee pre-ground in a can at the grocery store, you would find breakfast blend coffee.
맞아요.
And again, kind of similarly, it was something that was meant to kind of like pair well with something that you'd have in the morning, lots of dairy and sugar, a well-balanced, kind of nothing remarkable, comfortable, safe for any situation sort of blend.
아, 그런 뜻이군요. 그래서 아줌마분들이 굉장히 많이 사가더라고요. Plus my mom. It includes my mom.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a definite like crowd pleaser for any situation. It still surprises me that you say that it's the number one drink of the world. Tea. Yeah. Because in Korea, and I mean, it used to be a tea culture, but now... Coffee all the way.
Yeah, since the middle of the 20th century, basically once we figured out instant coffee, there was no turning back. We became a coffee culture here in Korea. But more than like tea leaf tea, we drink a lot of teas that aren't tea. And I don't know if this is what contributes to the overall number one ranking of tea in the world, because we drink so many things that aren't made from tea leaf.
We like sugary teas.
Do we?
Well, like 오미자차, 대추차.
Right, like 청-based teas.
맞아요,
but I feel
맞아요.
like we have on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, like our grain-based teas.
That's true.
Like, and then we also have, so like
인삼차.
보리차. You never sweeten 보리차.
Yeah.
Things like, you never sweeten like a 민들레차, for example.
그렇죠.
Right?
둥글레차.
둥글레차.
여러 가지 있죠.
Yeah, and like 보리차, I think I think we talked about it during the break. It is so good as a rehydrator. It's almost like a kind of like a sports drink.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely easier to drink as well. And once it is chilled after a hot day out in the sun, it's just so refreshing. But as you said, there's so many different types of teas, especially in Korea, if we just focus here in the country. As you said, grains as well.
Yeah, and I think, when you look at a couple of our grain-based teas, we start to kind of like get the water start to get a little murky because like 율무차, is that really a cha? It's so thick and creamy. It's like almost more like 미숫가루, right?
MSG.
Yeah.
MSGR이었죠.
Yeah, MSGR.
Yeah, even that. I mean, if you go look at the menu, it is in the cha 종류. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to say about this one. But like fruit teas as well.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that there aren't that many cultures that do this, where they make teas rather than juice fruits.
Oh, right.
Right? Instead of like a chip, we make things like 청, or we steep it directly into the water.
Yeah.
오미자 probably being the most kind of traditional, the most like 대표적인, the most like emblematic of the Korean teas. But I think the most popular fruit-based one has to be 유자차, right?
유자차. And then 매실차 for like 후식.
Yeah.
코스에는 무조건 있잖아요.
Do you like 구기자차?
I don't think, like, I want to say I've had it, but I don't remember it. I know the
small red ones,
like almond shape.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it was going to be sweet and then it wasn't? Is that correct? It's not sweet, is it?
It's not terribly sweet. I think it's on the par with like 대추.
Okay. Yeah, another one of my favorites is with 대추, but that's like stuff that you drink in like the winter, and then the grains maybe for the summer. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think that is like a good rule of thumb. I feel like
maybe.
You know what? Yeah, maybe it's because like you drink your 청s and your preserved like 오미자. You generally will dry it as well. It's very rare to actually encounter fresh 오미자 because the season is so short, and it goes bad very quickly. So that's why it has to be either dried or preserved in sugar.
Makes sense.
But yeah, my favorite fruit tea is actually kind of 호불호, 모과.
Oh, no, that's boring.
What? 모과? What do you... I thought you'd say the opposite. I think a lot of people don't like 모과 because it's too floral.
Wait. Fig? 무화과?
Not 무화과. 모과.
Is it a chrysanthemum?
No, 모과 is quince. It kind of looks like a mango. You'll find it a lot, like not so much anymore, but 옛날에 그 택시 들어가면은 like they'll have like a basket of these really like 강한 향 있는 과일 열매.
그래요?
Yeah, they're about the size. They kind of look like a mango.
Oh, I have to look it up.
But they smell intensely perfumey.
Do
like
they?
old lady perfume.
I don't think I've had this tea before then.
Yeah, it's not too. You see these trees all around, so they're quite commonly used as ornamental trees here in Korea. So you'll see trees in like suburban neighborhoods, like like 감나무, but you also see 모과나무 as well, and they're quite often used as ornamental.
Oh no, yeah, I've had this before. It's more earthy than it is.
It's earthy and floral, and not a lot of people like it.
Yeah, boring.
Yeah, I love it.
It tastes like the earth.
I think it's because I grew up in a neighborhood that had a couple 모과나무, and like for me, like that 향 is so nostalgic.
Okay, yeah. So it's more nostalgic than it is tasting good. Well, in any case, coming back to our question, 국가의 음료로 샴페인을 채택한 나라는 과연 어디일까요?
That's right. Which country's national drink? Sorry, we printed back and forth.
Which country's national beverage?
Beverage is champagne.
Drum roll, please.
Monaco입니다.
Oh, duh, yes.
Right? You like Grand Prix and everything.
Yes. Wow.
Apparently, you can go to a place and it could cost up to €40 for a single glass of champagne.
Well, there you go.
In Monaco, like you can't open an account in a lot of banks without having at least €500,000.
Okay, well,
this is the sort of country where
there
champagne is their national beverage.
Cheers to Monaco. And of course, cheers to Matt. Thank you once again. Hopefully, guys, you have a great day and stay safe and stay dry for tomorrow's rain. We'll have to see you again next week. And 여러분, 내일 봬요.